Okay, so we are going to do 8.2 and 8.3 today. That's the goal. They go really well together, and they're both really small sections. I mean, 8.3 is really short. It's the same thing over it. There's not really notes to it. And 8.2 basically did what we did last section and just adds variable, like an extra step in it. Okay, so we're just doing this. Okay, so 8.2, sorry, we're gonna do that first. The title is multiplying a polynomial by a monomial. It's an 8.2. I wrote 3 by accident. So only thing you have to learn in this section is all our answers are always in standard form. That's always the last step. Okay, so that's just from last section. The only thing you have to know and remember, star for importance, is numbers multiply by numbers. All right, so numbers are going to multiply by numbers. You actually do that math. When you multiply, and I'm abbreviating, numbers, you add, underline the word add, exponents. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. Okay, so all it is practice problems. So if I have negative 3x squared, then I'm going to put a parentheses after it. Then I'm going to put 7x squared minus 1x plus 4. Close your parentheses. When you have something outside of a parentheses, what do you think to do with it when it's normally just a number? You distribute. So we're taking all of this and we have to distribute. So one thing at a time. Negative 3 times 7. Negative 21. Then how many x's do you have? I have 2 x's here and 2 x's here. So you add them together. How many do you have total? So I'm going to write x to the 4th because that's how I see how many I have. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the next one. Arrow to the middle one. Negative 3 times negative 1. So I'm going to write plus 3, positive 3. 2x's there, 1x there. So how many do I have now? 3. Do it again. Negative 3 times 4. Negative 12. I have 2 x's here and none here. So how many total x's do I have if I add them together? 2. So I'm going to write x to the 2nd. Does that make sense? Is it in standard form? Is it go greatest x's to least x's? Yes, it does. How many different terms are there? 3. What do we call that? Good job. That's it. If I asked you what the degree is, Jesse, what's the degree? If I asked, it's not asking you in this section, but I'm asking you now. 4. What's my leading coefficient, Risa? Okay. Let's try it again, okay? Number 2. How about 5a squared parentheses negative 4a to the third plus 2a squared minus 7. Close my parentheses. So again, we're still going to distribute, aren't we? You want to try it out without me? See if you can do it. I'll draw all my arrows. See if you can do it. I'm going to move my sticky note while you do that. And then next, we're going to try multiple variables. Because right now we only have one variable in there. Next, we're going to try multiple variables. You just have to do one thing at a time. Numbers, and then one variable to another. One thing at a time. Just like this. You do the numbers first, then you look at the variables. Did you get the same answer? You still working on it? Did you get the same answer? After, if we get through both sections, yes. It's right here. Because I had 2 here and 2 and 2 here. I'm glad. How'd you do, Blake? Okay. Blake, pick 2 variables. I don't care what they are. I'm gonna make it up. Pick 2 variables. Huh? Okay. So we're gonna have 2x y to the second. So now we have 2 variables. What does this x technically have a power of? 1. If it helps you, always put a 1 there, okay? Now parentheses. Now next one. 3x squared plus 5xy minus 9xy to the third. Close your parentheses. It's okay. It's not so bad. If you just did the last one good, you're fine. It's okay. One thing at a time. You're still distributing, right? One thing at a time. Whole numbers. What's the whole number times the whole number? You're multiplying, sweetie? Okay. 6. I have 1x here and 2 x's here. So how many do you have? So I write x to the third. I have 2 y's here, but none here. So just because we still have them. So y squared. Move on. 2, Aiden, do the middle one. 2 times 5. Okay, so plus 10. Aiden, I have 1x here and 1x here. So how many x's do I have? So I'm going to write x to the second because that's how many, the power tells me how many I have. I have 2 y's here and 1 y here. So I put y to the third. See, not bad. Last one. 2 and negative 9. Negative 18. How many x's now do I have? How many? 2, x to the second. How many y's do we have? 5. Yes. With multiple variables, you cannot put them in standard form. You just leave them in their form. That's why they don't ask you for the degree of things like this, because there's multiple variables. I'll have you try another. You get this one right? I'm glad. Okay. Let's try another one where it's not so scrunched on the bottom. Okay. How about -3 y t parentheses 10 y squared t to the third plus 5 y t to the fourth. Short one. You try it. I gave you a shorter one. Only 2 terms on the inside. Try it on your own. If it helps, always put the 1 power on those things that only have one of them, if you don't have to see a power on them. Y, that's y to the first, t to the first. That's t to the fourth. T is the only thing that has a 4. Y is to the first. So try it. I'm going to take a drink while you do that. And I'll give you a less variables, but a challenge problem. Did you get it right? I haven't written it yet. In the original, in the first one? T to the first. And it's easy to mess up if you're not paying attention. Okay, so now try this last one, okay? Yep, that's why I draw my T's that way. Try this one. It only has one variable. It just looks different. So how about 3 parentheses 5x squared plus 2x minus 4, close your parentheses, minus x, parentheses, 7x squared plus 2x minus 3. It's just taking what we did last time and what we did this time and mixing it together. Look at one parentheses at a time. This first set of parentheses, Jalen, what does it have out front? 3. So what are we going to do with this 3? Just into this group. And it's a whole number, so you only deal with the whole numbers. Just bring everything else down on that part. So what does this turn into? 3 times 5x squared is? Okay. 3 times 2x. And then 3 times -4? -12. Okay, so that first part is done. That's basic chapter 2 multiplication, right? Now the second part, this is technically a -1 and an x. Now we're going to take this and distribute into the second part. So you have to multiply just like above. Multiply the numbers first, then the variables. So the numbers first, -1 and 7. You get -7. X to the third, correct. The next one, what are you going to get? Yep, -2, x to the second. And the last one, what are we going to get? Oh, plus, because negative times a negative. So plus 3, and then you carry down the x. Now you have this big long thing, but what did we just do as warm-up and last section? We're going to combine like terms. Look at the first one. This guy is squared. Anybody else squared? Okay, I'm going to square him. Combine them, 15 of them minus 2 of them. So 13x squared. Next, I see a 6x, just an x. Anything else have just an x? Yep, so I'm going to circle that. Positive 6 plus 3. Plus 9x, okay. Whole number, do we have any other whole numbers? Nope, just bring down the 12. What about the x to the third? Just bring that down also. Since these only have one variable, Derek, can we put it in standard form? Okay. What are we going to do? Yeah. Correct. Oop, that's a 3. You take the biggest power and put it in front, the next biggest power, the next power. You put them in order, yeah. And what do we call this since it has 4 terms? A polynomial. Yeah, it is in standard form, but it's a polynomial. That is what 8.2 is. So I only gave you 6 problems from that section. And I think they're all this easy, like the first 3. They don't have a lot of variables. None of them, I don't think, do this. Okay? Okay, now you ready to see 8.3? It's just like this. Well, actually, in my opinion, it's easier and harder at the same time. So let's see how you feel. Less variables, so it should be easier. Okay, so now I'm going to write 8.3. This title is just multiplying polynomials. Put a space between my word by accident. Okay, so now this one has a special method. I'm going to give you a first example, see if you remember the method, and then we'll write out what the method is. It's when we have 2 sets of parentheses, like this. 2x plus 3, close your parentheses, and it's right next to, on top of, parentheses are right next to each other, x plus 5, close my parentheses. Do you know what that is called? No. It's a form of distributing, actually. But it has a special saying. It's called, I always draw it too high. I'm going to write it here. It's called FOIL. Did you get to learn that last year? Okay. So F stands for first. What that means, and I'll draw a line for it. And you know what? I'll even use different colors for you. How about that? So you can see it. So first means in this parentheses, what's the first term? The 2x, right? What's the first term in the other group? So you're going to take the first one and multiply it by the first one. That's what it means. So what is 2x times 1x? So 2 times 1 is 2. X and x is x to the second, right? Because we add them. Okay, change them of color. O means outside. Yeah, so foil. Outside means, if you look at the whole thing, what terms are on the outside? Not outside of the parentheses, farthest out. So the 2x and the 5 are on the outside. I just drew my stuff too close together. Usually I give myself line room. So you multiply those. 2 times 5 plus 10. I carry down the x, right? Because 1 x's, I keep an x. If O means outside, N is going to be inside. So then inside is the inside one times the inside one. These two together. So 3 times 1 is 3, and we keep an x. And if you're not first, you're last. And last is going to be 3 times 5, which is plus 15. If you do it in this order, it's already almost in standard form. You will always have to combine like terms, but does this have any like terms? Nope, it never will. What do you notice about these two? They're the same. These guys will always add together. So what's 10x's plus 3x's? Plus 13x. Nope, you're adding them. When you add them, you just leave it as x. And then 15 has nothing in common. So it's called FOIL. I always give myself more room to draw those lines. What you're really doing is you're distributing. You're taking this first number and multiplying it by everything in the first group, the second group, and then taking this other number and multiplying it by everything in the other group. So we're going to try it again. Just keep doing it. Okay, do you want me to show you the distributing way and see if that helps? Or you want to try this way again first? Okay, try this way again first. Okay. I always leave myself room so I can draw my lines. So how about x minus 2 is my first set of parentheses. Second set is 3x plus 4. Okay? First one times first one. X, which is 1x, times 3x turns into what? 3x squared. Correct. O, x times 4. 1x times 4 turns into what? 4x. Correct. I for inside, negative 2 times 3x, negative 6x. I'll keep using the same colors in the same spots. Okay? And then last, negative 2 times 4, negative 8. Every single time, do you notice that the middle two have the same variables? So you're going to add those together. So you bring down the first one, bring down the last one, the outside and inside add together. So it's 4x's minus 6x's. Negative 2x's. And look, it's in standard form. Getting a little better. Oop, wrong color. Probably enough time for one more problem. Okay. 2y, that is our goal, minus 7 in the first group. Second group, 3y plus 5. What giant X? That's a parentheses. They're just connected. Yeah. Okay. So first times first. First times first. If you want, you can put an F right there too. What's that going to make? 6 what? 6y squared. Yep. Outside is green, and it's going to be the first one times the last one. That's outside. Plot positive 10y. Yep, keep forgetting the variables. Inside, you're forgetting to add them. Negative 21y. I'll put an I there. And last, ow, I just hit my elbow. Negative 7 and positive 5. Negative 35. We always add the like terms together. First one's brought down. What's negative 10y minus 21y? Negative 11y's, and then bring down my last one. FOIL is something you use all the time. Huh? Do you do first inside, outside, last? You just don't draw the arrows? Okay. Some people, so Miss Davis calls it, and I think Mr. Phillips has called it this before, they call it the crab claw method. Well, you guys had COVID last year, so you probably just didn't get to it. So you see like these lines, it looks like a claw. You see those lines? That's where Miss Davis got it from, okay? So she calls it the crab claw method, okay? But it's really just called foiling. I just like foiling because each letter stands for something, so it helps me remember. All it really is distributing. So if you don't like this, real quick, I'll show you this just in case. The same exact problem we just did, 2y minus 7 and then 3y plus 5. So if you don't like foiling, what you can do is you can take the first one times all the second one. So you take 2y and multiply it by all of the second one. And then you take this guy, so minus 7, and multiply it by all of this guy. So you can write it out like that. You can take the first term, multiply it by the second group, the second term, multiply it by the second group. They mean the same exact thing. Yes. Just make sure you take this symbol with that number. So it's well, Katie does her homework, so she gets to go first. Well, do your homework.